Hello and welcome to Caching Waves. This is an update for Bitcoin. Just wanted to go over the last trade. If you were in this, congratulations on that. We got in around this area here. Stop was at this previous low. We ended up having to wait quite a while for this to drag out, and then we got our flat pattern to the upside. Should have taken profit right there at 29K on that 1 hour wick. We got that one in. So that was a nice little trade setup. But now we're at an area where you would expect to get rejection, like bearish price action here. One thing to take note here is if we are bearish from this pivot here, our target's now around 23K. I had to switch the pivots from that new high. That's on linear. And on log, it's 23.4. So just something to keep in mind for later on. But I wanted to discuss this area because there is a way we go to the upside further from here. And what that would enable is this. I have this as a completed correction already to the upside, and we need to come back down to the downside if this count is accurate. I know this was just fake out news, but we did spike through the 618 retracement of our first wave down, which has me slightly concerned. I think we even broke this level on some other exchanges. This is Bitstamp. And there's also conflicting counts in this area. As if you've been following, you know my Bitstamp, I was able to get 5 waves out of it. So if this 5-wave move is correct, then we have to come down from here because we have a completed WXY if this count is correct. So one thing I'm keeping in mind here is if it's not correct, then our A wave would be over here and we'd be making some sort of flat. So if it's not correct, what that would mean to me is this would be our W wave. This is if we need to go for upside. This would end up having to be an X wave as a flat. As a WXY flat pattern, and we'd be making more waves to the upside over here. And I was pulling some pivots because I like to make sure I have bullish and bearish scenarios. But the reason for this is, remember, for our C wave we want to see at least a 618 extension, and I believe we got it on linear. Yeah, you can see we tagged it there on linear. So what that would look like is this is our first W wave. Then we have an X over here, and we're making a Y, which would mean this pattern can extend to the upside. This is how I would have to recount things if we go with the other exchanges where it didn't make 5 waves to the downside. So just something to keep in mind. I don't want to overcomplicate things, but it's something to be very aware of. Because at the moment, I don't see a scenario like a setup to the downside. If we look at this crazy move from yesterday, it's clearly an impulse to the downside, right? But if we were bearish here, we would have expected a 1-2, would have expected a 1-2 here, and we just continue dropping. And clearly, we're just drifting sideways here. Here, let me clean up some of this, get it out of the way for you here. So we're just drifting sideways here, so I start to wonder, okay, if we are going to the upside, where do we want to make sure we kind of hold above, because we want to use these resistance levels as support now. So what I would want to see, I showed you this, I think a couple videos ago on the larger count, was that once we came up to this area and we tagged through the 618, we would want to see some sort of sideways action in this area. That takes a little bit of time before potentially the next move to the upside. So I'm not in a trade in this, and I'm not currently going to be trading it. I just want to see what pans out here before I find a good entry. There is good entry points, just not at the moment. So we have 3 down here. we have 3 up. This looks corrective. This looks like potentially a 5 wave here. A, B, C. Could come down here. I'm just freeballing this, sorry guys, just to make sure. A, we have an A, B, could come down for a C, come back up in 3 or 5 as a WXY or a flat ABC. Challenge this high. We could come back down here, potentially 5. Something like this, I'd be interested in a short as a scalp in this area because we want this to obviously have a similar length leg once this correction is done. The question is it to the downside? Because that would indicate our downside move is in play, or is it where we make some sort of flat? We challenge this high first and then complete and then look for higher highs. So as of right now, I'm just sideline. I don't see a 1, 2, 1, 2 here. That does not look like 5. So maybe we come up a little higher and then we can make a 1, 2. At which point I might be interested there with a stop here to the downside. But we're getting a lot of sideways drifting, so there's nothing clear. I'm completely neutral on this at the moment. I just want to see more candles print out to give me a better idea what's going on here. But as of right now, this doesn't look complete. But if we get this move to the upside to challenge this high, I would be interested in a short-term short down once again, and then I'd probably flip long because at that point it wouldn't really be a 1, 2 if we come up that high. So areas to keep in mind. Let's pull our pivots here. We can get rid of that 50. So areas to keep in mind. Let's put that in white. We'll see which one's closer. 29.76, 29.57. So if we break above the 786 here at 29.424, I would flip my bias that this is actually going to make a flat before more upside. But if we make a 3, 3, 5 or 3 up to the 618 and we get pretty quick rejection fast, I might consider taking a short from here, stop at this high. But I want to see that pattern play out before I'm interested. At the moment, it doesn't appear like we're coming down with any sort of impulsive nature. So I'm going to wait and see on this one, guys. I want to see at least to the 618 up here. Or alternatively, the only way I'd be interested in a short is if this turns into some sort of leading diagonal. But again, that would drag on for quite a while. And then we'd look for our 3 wave and take our short over here. But that would be a couple days from now. So those are kind of the things I'm paying attention to. We'll get some more clarity as these candles print out. But it doesn't look like there's a setup to the downside quite yet. And again, if we are moving upside, we'll have to recount this entire move, and this would be a WX, and we'd be looking for a Y move to the upside to challenge this high, in which case this could all turn into a flat to the downside. So I am expecting that move to the downside. The question is from where? And as we get more information, aka the candles printing out, we should get a higher probability for these setups. But at the moment, I don't see any setups that I'm interested in taking at the moment on Bitcoin. There are some in other assets if you want to check out my other videos, just not currently on Bitcoin. Sorry guys, I wish I had more clear setups for you, but sometimes the best thing to do in the market is to not trade at all. All right guys, that's Bitcoin. Thanks for watching.